I think that's right. Yep, now I can hear myself too. Very good. Turn up a little bit more. Good. Hey, welcome to another stream of Lyrebird Edits. Rider SG, ZT Edits. Hello, welcome. Give me a sec. Turn the ceiling light off. And the stream looks about exactly the same as it does before, but now there's no like weird halo above my head. Also, I've got a mushroom haircut going on right now. I'll show you. It's awful. I don't think my hair's ever been this... It's not long. It's just... I don't know. I look like that kid in year 6 that you want to beat up. You know, the guy who tries way too hard to be like on the school student representative council. So, that needs to change, because I'm getting flashbacks to when I was on the SRC. No, I was never on the SRC, but I was the kind of kid that should have been, like, you know, one of those kids. You know, one of those kids. Okay. Ooh, good. Good to see the delay is nice and low. And also, just while I blather on, get that line spacing 1.5 and after paragraph. Good, and now it's actually legible. So for those of you who may be not familiar with what I'm doing, this is my story, which is called Ningen, and I am a couple of streams into it. I think part of the reason why I've taken such a long stab at this showcasing my own work is because I've been very lazy and haven't been pursuing actively other people's stories. That should change hopefully soon when I get my act together. However, I am a couple of months away from finishing a PhD, so I shouldn't be promising anything that I can't deliver on, and that's one of those things. I may have to drop down to 1 stream a week, and it will probably be this. I might cut the weekday stream and just do a Sundays. I haven't made up my mind about that, but I do need more time during the week, and if it's a matter of me selecting stories to edit over successive weeks, then I can't just keep doing my own stuff, so... Oh yeah, I didn't send those letters. I'm really sorry, Sean. Remind me after stream, okay? Oh, that's true. If not, there's always yours. Actually, yeah, I do have yours to fall back on, too. So that's always an option. So this is letter number 9 that we're going to be working on. And for a quick recap for anyone who's coming in sideways, or if you're stumbling onto this video for the first time, either on YouTube or on Twitch, this is my story that is set in the period before the Second World War, told from the perspective of a Japanese soldier in the Imperial Army, who is stationed over in North Korea, and in like Manchuria and Manchukuo in China. Lots of fun stuff happens, and by fun stuff I mean not fun stuff at all. The last letter that we touched on last stream, let me pull it up, one sec. Just realized I cannot count. So, the last letter was in November 10. Give me a sec. Yep, can't count. So, we're up to letter number 8. This is letter number 9 that I accidentally pasted into the stream. Let me go and grab number 8. Haha! And no one saw anything. Fantastic. Okay, cool. That was good to check. Hey Alex, welcome to the stream. Um, no mistakes here, absolutely none. We're dealing with my story that I've been working with over the past couple of streams. We're up to letter number 8. Now to give everyone another little recap, now that I have my thoughts in order, story follows around a soldier in the Japanese Imperial Army, and he's been stationed in Manchuria, which Japan is now, yeah, at this point of the story, in the process of occupying. Before he left for war, or for the sort of espionage work that he's doing, he made this pact with like a minor god of death to protect him during his adventures in the conflict zones. And in return, this death god gets to sort of piggyback off of our main character's exploits, I suppose. So she sort of lingers around by his side and watches what he does. I guess her motive is that she enjoys watching people kill each other. Not in like a blood sport way, but I suppose in the way that a spirit might need to sort of engorge herself on the experiences of what mortal people do. So there's a bit of magic realism here, but the vast majority of it would be historical fiction. And this is a very unpleasant time in the history of the human race. And with that being said, let's dive right in. Letter number 7, which was the one that we did last week, deals with a scene where two characters are talking to each other as they make their way from city A to city B. It's Chinese city A, Chinese city B. And I guess this was an interesting chapter because I guess it sort of it gets to the heart of maybe what I'm trying to get through in this story, which is about the sort of personal moments that make up people's lives contrasted against some of the horrors that they excuse from their own actions. So these two soldiers are sort of just sharing a life experience as they're doing this very boring task of just traversing the country. But then when it gets to the end of the letter, we realize that Ishii and his companion Ashitaka, they are transporting sex slaves in the back of their truck from like between the cities. And this is an important letter because it ends with this real sort of it's quite a dehumanizing end to the letter, which I think I'll read through again because the context of this letter pushes forward into letter number 8, which is what we're going to be dealing with tonight. So yeah, it's a bit unpleasant, but nothing too bad. Yeah, good point from our writer SG. That's something to watch out for. If you're starting off a new chapter, it's probably best not to come in too cold, as he was saying. Doing that, like Dear Girl forms the edges of what I do now, is maybe a decent way to start off the letter, but because it's coming in cold, it just has the disadvantage of not grounding the letter particularly well. So I'll keep that in mind. Oh. That's weird, isn't it? Maybe it was like auto-censoring. I'll look at my panel and I will see what it says. Oh, it's funny. How strange. Anyway, I will read a small part of letter number 7 and then we'll go into letter number 8. And then that way I can reacquaint myself with how this end section handles itself before I push into the new one. So Ishii and Ashitaka are unloading these women into a line outside their truck, and a superior comes over and yep, he sort of lines them up and inspects some of the women, paced before them chin high and giving them the briefest of appraisals as he stopped, ran a finger across a woman's cheek as if scraping away dirt, leering, moving on. until he came to the poison woman with the broken elbow, who was introduced up here as someone who was staring very intently at Ishi. And there he stopped. So this is talking about the Ishi's superior. She refused to meet his eye, no matter how close he drew. I'm gonna replace it with a comma, and turn to suggesting mode. Even as the section leader bent down to match her level, and practically pressed his nose against her face. So it's a little sentence fragment, but I think that's okay for the fact that it's a written letter. I had the impression he was going to grab her by the arm and twist. He didn't. He waited. Every eye in that line, including our own, trained on the pair, to see what sort of outcome would befall the defiant girl who dared not look her better in the eye. What would this man do? He uttered only one word. Move, and she did. Before I could make sense of it, I saw the leader reach out behind her. Grab, then pull. A little girl staggered forth, out of hiding. A terrifying grip the commander had around her wrist, strong enough to scratch, to drag red lines into her flesh. And he dragged her, so I've repeated drag here. I'll just fix that. Strong enough to scratch, to drag red lines across her flesh. I can't start the sentence there with and, that's not a proper run-on sentence. So, he, I'm just gonna put he. I don't want to say yanked, doesn't sound particularly good, so he just pulled her out for all to see. Or plucked. Yeah, plucked her from a hiding place. Plucked her out front doesn't work, so plucked her out from the hiding place. Yeah, actually, raked would work. I'm going to use that suggestion. That's a good one. Or he raked her out in front for all to see. I like, this is going to sound weird. I like the fact that it sounds like rape, because there's the connotation of the dehumanizing element of what he's going to do. I'm not sure if I'm fully on board with it though. He pulled. I'm gonna do what I had initially. He plucked. Before us all. Okay, that's a bit better. Good. Also, good place to highlight that subsequent edits of your work will give you fresh eyes as to what does and doesn't work with your writing. So when I went through this the first time, my intention was to do a coarse brush. Every subsequent edit will make it iteratively better. And I think you'll find that with your own work too. So I guess what I'm saying is keep at it, and don't expect your first edit to be the only edit you'll do. You'll be reading your work an awful lot if you want to make it better, so yeah, get used to it. But that's relieving in some ways, because it means that you don't have to perform 100% on your first pass edit. It's not like you've been given one opportunity to perfect it. You rehearse over and over and over again until you get it right. A ripple of fear sprang through the woman, but a superior shouted them down to submission, centering the girl before him, turning her around so that she faced the women. So, sprang through the women is a bit weak, so I'm going to personify it a bit more. A ripple of fear, cut through the woman, for instance. Even that is an improvement, because it gives a bit more agency to the ripple of fear. Yeah, it is. Wackadoo. Yeah, it is. Isn't that strange? We spell center in a very unusual way. C-E-N-T-R-E. So this is center, and because you have to drop the vowel when you add an ing, centering becomes centering. Don't know why. Our language is stupid, but I like it. Thank you, Outrider. Thank you. Yeah, isn't it funny how such a simple change just feels like it's, I don't know. But yeah, I think it feels better in a way that I can't quite articulate fully. The personification probably does it. Now, I don't like this because it's a bit too thick. I just realized I'm re-editing the edit from last time. Oh well, doesn't matter. Strap yourself in. We'll be here for a while. A ripple of fear cut through the woman, but our superior shouted them down to submission. Women, sorry, that needs to be plural. My goodness. Centering the girl before him, turning her around so that she faced. I'm gonna put face for line so it's not repeating women. The little one shook and stood up so straight, trying not to cry. Brave girl, I would say 9 or 10. I don't like it, lol. Yeah, neither. I'm not a fan of this sentence, but so for instance, this is quite bland. It's sort of like a bran. I think I was going to try and say like a bran flake description. What would be better is if we injected some personality into it, so that this dude isn't just like generic evil Japanese soldier, but he has like a bit of a personality beyond that. So one way to do that is to make him into a perv, which I'm not really going to do too strongly. But what I want to do is to I guess imbue him with a bit more character and make him more characterful. That's what I was going for. A ripple of fear cut through the women, but our superior shouted them down to submission. Hands on her shoulders now. So something like that, for instance, it says exactly the same thing as before, but now we have it layered on top of a character action, which we intuit is pretty nasty. So he flipped her around to face the woman and pressed himself against her back. The little one shook and stood up so straight, trying not to cry. Yeah, right. So that's what I think I was going more for, and I didn't get it quite right, did I? So make a grope, smile, turn, give a look, note to the men. Yeah. hmm I feel it. So he. Just give me 1 sec. I just want to see what I had before. Yep. No, I think I like what I was going for just then. Um. There you go. So something like that. That's a bit placeholder. We can fine tune that later. As that writer says, we can really expand that scene to sort of incorporate a bit of like a knowing look. I got a feeling though that he's not at that level. He's sort of one up, so his authority would kind of beget a certain aloofness to his insubordinates, which comes back to help us a bit later with the ending. Ooh, that's good. Oh, that's really good. Okay, yeah, yeah. Where was I? Western desire. I'm so tempted just to put that in wholesale. So I'm gonna put it here, um, and explain maybe why I'm hesitant. I wonder if this is a bit too overkill. Just because have a read of what comes next, and without further word, our leader reached for his belt and drew out a terrible knife serrated with teeth. That's a tautology. It can't be serrated without teeth. So it's a bit serrated. Several of the women cried out, but they dared not move as the knife point slid gentle, without cutting, across the girl's shoulder, resting at her collarbone, her throat, up across her cheek, her nose. He then took a fistful of her hair and slid the knife through the feed. Down the black waterfall across her peasant rags, he dug and cut, while every woman and girl watched the humiliation, neither quick nor paced, neither directed nor planned. He simply cut chunks out of her hair, until satisfied that here, right here, was the best moment to stop. Knife returned to belt, hands dusted, child released. She falls back in line, out of sight, hidden by the toxic woman. More hatred. A few of the women were crying, most turned away. But I saw something else, Tomo. I saw something that nobody else could see. So I'm gonna stop there. Maybe one of the reasons why I don't want his eyes spoke to the worst of intentions, the worst of desires. I love how poetic that is, and it would fit so well. And I wonder if, because this demonstrates that intention, whether it's redundant to even use it, but it's so short and succinct. Maybe this is kind of like the battle between showing and telling, when you have a superb tell and the show is kind of long and it works its way a bit differently. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that one. So for instance, I could put it here. And I wonder if it's too slow now. A ripple of fear cut through the woman, but our superior shouted them down to submission. Hands on her shoulders now, squeezing tight. And he pressed her tight against his belly, wicked smile, eyes on fire as he soaks up the horror. His eyes spoke to the worst of intentions, Tomo, the worst of desire. The little one shook and stood up straight, trying not to cry. Brave girl, I would say 9 or 10. So, it's a bit longer. I wonder. Yeah, no, I think it fits. It's a really good suggestion, Ryder, because it fits the tone of the story so well, and also refers back to the fact that it's a letter. I'll leave it in there and I'll see if it sticks. So yes, if this ever becomes a published story, I'll have to give you credit in the acknowledgements. Yeah, no, thank you. That's a really good suggestion. I tend for oh sorry, I'm copying your words out loud. I also have a bit of a problem with this sometimes. But it's just a tell and a show, but they both do something interesting, and side by side they can work really nicely. That's what I do with this problem here. I figure out where they overlap, and I trim it away. So I saw something else. Well, I saw something that nobody else could. Standing there in the edge, well, in the dark edge of the cargo van, standing tall over the line of women as though she were queen among them. Arms folded, hollow eyes focused along the line, moving, scanning the fresh flesh. I saw her poke that slug-dark tongue out, just a fraction, and lick her lips. As a taste of despair came to her. She doesn't have lips, she's technically got a skull. Whatevs. Then her gaze caught mine, and for perhaps the first time in our union together, I thought I saw her smile. A bending of the bones, a shape I had not seen before, that she had not seen before. A shape that only I could see. I felt my heart lurch. The brute sheathed his knife and turned to us, said, casual, "Any potholes along the highway?" I'm gonna get rid of the brute. Major. Why not? Check. Check hierarchy. I'm really terrible with military hierarchy. Hierarchy? Nailed it. Okay. Dear girl fawns at the edges of what I do now. Okay, so it's cold. Yeah, it is cold. But for the life of me, I don't feel as though I can justify taking it out because of the next blah 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 blah. The next section may justify it, but I need to figure out whether or not I can do something that I'm naturally inclined to suggest in other people's writing to not do. So this is one of those points where I need to be a bit more objective. Wish me luck! Dear girl fawns at the edges of what I do now. She stands by my side during the day as I watch the men work on the railroad. Most of the time, as we pass along the lines where the new track is replacing the old gauge, she simply stares at the men. I think I understand why. There is nothing particularly interesting about the living as far as she regards them. A simple glance in their direction is enough for her to tell whether or not someone is healthy or on the verge. This boy I saw today, he was most certainly on the verge. I was never particularly good with medicines and diseases, but I do know what a whooping cough sounds like. It's not the exhalation or the spluttering, it's the that strained and ill-measured wheeze. Like trying to... I'm gonna put the... Yep. Ah. Good. Like trying to press tea leaves through a strainer lung. I remember seeing this boy a few days ago when he first arrived on another one of the convoy trucks, jostled about and prodded with a bayoneted rifle end, a pickaxe pushed into his hand, directed to the side of the track. The coat they'd given him was too small. He only possessed a single shoe, and his shorts rode up to his knees. I'm gonna put pants instead. That makes more sense in context. Dear girl sniffed him out first, from 20 meters away as we passed down the line. Like an English bloodhound, she found the trace of something in the air, chin up, body stiff and alert. What a strange sight. She let her skull nose take her, I'm gonna put skull nose there, take her, and skulls don't have noses, so I think this isn't a literal description. Take her and drag her towards the source of decay. I followed. I stood a little ways back as the deaf god, small g, found her source, the boy, as he swung with an unsteady rhythm, axe to metal. I could also put, as he swung axe to metal with an unsteady rhythm. A suitable replacement for this would be in time to a song without a beat. To an unsteady rhythm. In time to a song without a beat. Yep, I think that works a bit better. Deer stood by and watched. Not a meter away. This is the correct way to spell meter. Fun fact. In the US, that's how you spell a metric meter. This is how we spell meter. And this is how we spell a mechanical device used to ratchet counts. Meter, like an electricity meter or an odometer, that's a meter. That's how we spell it. The same way that you guys spell meter. Fun fact! Lyrebird fun facts. Like and subscribe. Deer stood by and watched, not a meter away, just standing there and peering in with her empty eyes, as if divining the path of the last days of his life. Comma written in the marks in his face. Tea leaf, death stench, fortune telling. So I recycled 2 images that I used here and just pushed it there at the end. Yeah, kind of works. Meat tree. Meat tree? Meat. Tre or tree? Tre or tree? It's kind of like trick or treat for a New Zealander. I just realized that wouldn't make any sense for non-South Hemisphere people. Wait, does it even make sense for me? Maybe not. And I was being sarcastic. Oh. Whoosh! Oh man. Wow. I'm a gullible person. My apologies. Okay, so let's go back and reevaluate the trip of the joke. I like Mitra. I think we can start something here, you and I. I like that. Dear girl fawns at the edges of what I do now. She stands by my side during the day. Blah 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 blah. Look, I think it's justifiable, but I mean, could it be stronger? Perhaps. I'd rather start with a demonstration here rather than, like, dearest Tomo, I am now in charge of, like, looking after the indentured slaves. Well, that's redundant. The slaves that we're picking up from Eastern Manchuria as we're pushing through the whole region and just fucking shit up. But this is a bit more sort of like, now it's a direct problem that he's having to deal with, being confronted with death. For the most part, it's fairly smooth. I'm suspicious. Well, whatever premonition she had, dear girl proved right on track. This is a modern expression? Or is it? Let me check, because this is the 30s. It's also a Breakfast Club song, which makes it difficult. And it's an original Disney Channel movie. Okay, good stuff. Wiktionary. Okay, Wiktionary, diplomatic, blah blah blah. Prepositional phase. I'm not entirely sure if this is a... like, just how modern this is. It doesn't matter too much, but, we have to be careful not to sprinkle too many modernisms back into 1930. Some are okay. It's avoidable. No, it's somewhat permissible for a modern writer to do that. But the less you do it, the more convincing it is. Demon with D-headed girl. I like that suggestion. I'm gonna put it in too. Put hyphens in there as well. Even with Diego Fonzo, just what I do now. This might work. Hello, Pumpkin Pie Addict. How are you? Welcome back to this. Some more context for what we're doing. Hope you've been well. I think you're right, Outrider. Redeeming the Diego Fonz features are what I do now. That plugs that problem, doesn't it? I'm just generally awful, lol. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, now that you're here, you're generally well loved and respected as part of our stream. Or if you like, we can continue on your bad luck and we can just be awful to you. Your choice. 50-50. I'm easy. Let me know. My love. Hey, pandas from Mars. Hello. Twitch is being a bit funny with telling me who's currently in. Yeah. Like who's in the chat box, how many are viewing, it's all over the place. Like it says I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people viewing. A couple of those are bots. And then elsewhere it's like 2 viewers, but there are more than 2 people. I don't know. I don't know what Twitch is up to. It's been 3,000 years since I last saw you. That's a good Pokemon meme. It's been 7,000 years. Let me bring that one up. I can be awful all day. I think we need like awful in doses, don't we? Story checks out. I believe you're a bot. Let me throw a Capacha your way. Oh, I can't find that Pokemon meme. Anyway, enough about Pokemon memes. I'm not sure what to say to that. Let's focus back here. You sure did it, Clem. That's well. If that was the first thing you saw, oh, actually, you can see the context now. There's no context to that. I don't know where that came from. Hi, Clem. Welcome back to the stream. Okay, so we've got our main character here, Ishi. He's walking through a new stretch of track, or a new stretch of train track that's being laid down by some Chinese slaves, and he's following this demon around who seems to be sensing that one of them's close to death, and she comes up to him and divines his future almost, while the main character just sort of watches on. The one thing that's missing from all of this, God, leave X out. Yeah, when did you guys just get a notification? You seem to have all come at once. Nice guy, demon. She's sort of. It's not all bad news with the demon. Well, whatever premonition she had, dear girl proved right on track. Today we found the boy again. Between the satisfying, oddly spaced chinking of the slaves I heard the sound of death. Dear girl smells it, I hear it. Teeth through a strainer. He was coughing, please. He was coughing up something yellow when I saw him, though. In the 5 or so days since he'd taken up working in the camp, his condition had only worsened. Weak, frail, he propped himself up against the butt of his axe and tried not to let his ribs collapse. Again, the death god stood beside him, peering, wondering, tasting the time of death on his breath. He could not see her. Yet he saw me, and when our eyes locked, I looked back into the final day of a boy's life. Dear girl fawns at the edges of what I do now, but this time she simply stood back. Demon video. I'm gonna repeat that here. Demon, the dear girl, whoops. Fawns the edges of what I do now, but this time she simply stood back. Just give up on work. Ah, I'm glad to be your enabler of procrastination. Or at least like a sort of come down from work. Borf. Like me is live on Twitch. I've got good fans. If one of them can develop enough sentience to go from like woof woof bark bark to hey P.S. That guy you like watching on stream is streaming now. He does sound like a good boy, doesn't he? Ah, you're back. You're back, Ernst. Well, we don't want you back. Okay, Mr. Oh, I'm gonna go off and play silly amounts of Fortnite. Actually, no, you didn't say that. And always welcome back to the stream. I totally don't mind if you have like other things you need to do. I'm not offended. You don't need to come back just for me. Ooh, nice. Oh wait, hang on. I'm distracting you from writing. That's not good. Go and write. And keep me open as well in another tab, but mute me. And that way I get more viewers. Or if you can multitask, you can do both. I made vape juice around the house. Ooh. It's not very real, mum. Okay, so I think what I was doing here originally was splitting this letter into two. The first half of this letter deals with the demon getting her, I guess, not really first taste of death. She's seen it in other parts, but she's certainly interested in this. In the events of... Sorry if I'm scrolling up and down too much. Yet he saw me, and when our eyes locked, I looked back into the final day of a boy's life. Extend. The demon, the dear girl, fawns the edges of what I do now, but this time she simply stood back. The Lyrebird streams. I like that you're putting me above personal hygiene. I approve of this. But this time she simply stood back. I need to show you another story. This is still quite raw for me and difficult to process. So, Tomo, I beg patience. Perhaps another day I will rewrite this into a version that is more acceptable and loyal to the truth. I can't think straight about it. So, we're gonna stop there because that's another section. So I'm gonna just clean break that for now so we don't look at it. This is... too short. I didn't finish this scene off particularly well. Sure, most of it might be fine in terms of what I consider to be decent writing, but what I was trying to get across, I'm like 3/4 there, but then it just ends. So, the death god stood beside him, peering, wondering, tasting the time of death on his breath. He could not see her. Yet he saw me, and when our eyes locked, I look back into the final day of a boy's life. Good, so let's get rid of that. Replaceable railroad. I'll leave that there for now, it's not great though. No. Kicking, screaming like a little child, blah blah blah. I'll throw that in a second. Let me just go back and read the chat. Ugh, sinus infections. Ugh, I feel for you. I haven't had one of those in ages, but they always used to hit pretty hard. Ugh, cough that won't go away. Ugh. You guys keep your diseases, your communicable diseases, away from the chat, please. Don't infest us all. Blind liar? Oh. Well, I never. I'm offended. Thanks, Mum. Oh, because of genetics, right. Bad genes. No, don't beat yourself up, Clem. Your genes are tip-top. We share, like, how many percentage of our DNA with bananas? A lot. Genes are weird. Don't stress too much about genes. It's not the be-all and end-all. Not the be-all and end-all. I've picked up a few things from my nephews every now and then. They get sick, I get sick, everyone gets sick. Yeah. Children are just like little black holes of disease, like They get everything from school, and then they just spread it to the family. It's good love. Time to burn him. Ah, protein science. Different order from genetics. More refined. Superior, I'd say. In my unbiased opinion. Oh, that's nice. What kind of games do you play with him, Outrider? Sorry, I'm in my own little world there. Um, the children are like little fish. I'm not sure if I mean, if you want it on a shirt, be my guest to use it. A merch store. Would you want my face on a mug? I wouldn't want my face on a mug. Maybe with like a quote, a Lyrebird quote on the other side of the mug. I'd buy a mug of Lyre drinking from his Ningen mug. What we need to do is, I need to get myself drinking, like, get a photo of myself drinking from my Mingen mug, and then get that photo, put it on a mug, so that I can then drink from that mug, and it's like a sort of, like, mug inception kind of thing. Mugception. We'll walk nude without Lyre merch. The onus is on you, Lyre. Don't make us do this. Well, my hands are tied. Unless I want mass nudity for the world. Which wouldn't be an awful thing, but... still, I could get some sweet merch out there as well. Hey T84, welcome back to a stream. Lyre, get a donate button. Nah. I don't want money. I just want the pleasure of company. And the occasional Shrek reference. But thank you anyway. Anything with a car and a gun. He's 20 months. Perfect age for Americanizing him early. God bless America. Lie wants us all nude. A subscribe button. Good question. Oh, I need to be an athlete. That's why, and I can't be an athlete while I dual stream to YouTube. So, solution: I can delay stream to YouTube and then become an athlete. Yeah, that's probably the solution. Taking out chat. The cesspool. Yeah, I don't love YouTube. Cuddly Clem. Lyre emotes. Yeah, that's true. I could get some Lyre emotes. Hmm. YouTube's useful because they when I dual stream like what I'm doing now, it just goes onto YouTube and it's saved there. If Twitch allowed me to archive all of my videos automatically without them expiring, I'd hands down be an Athlete. But the exploding video thing, yeah, I don't know. I think you just need to be an Athlete, so Outrider SG, which requires you to have like 7 streams in a month, at least 5 viewers in each. I'm not sure. I qualified for Athlete like a year ago. I just never did anything with it. Highlight. Oh, okay. Oh, hang on. The next minute ads stand corrected. What do you mean highlight all of my past broadcasts? What does that do? Does that mean that it doesn't poof and explode into nowhere? Actually, yeah. What do you mean by highlight? Let me know. Let me know. I'm trying to think of a way to end this and to start the next section. I'll read through what I've just gone there. Yep, stay forever. Let me make you a quick tutorial. Thank you. Thank you. That'd be really great. Because I've always wondered if there was a way to do it on Twitch. Give me the pronunciation of Billyute? Billet? What word was I saying? Oh, Affilite. Affiliate. Yeah, no, it is. Wait, hang on. It's affiliate? I thought it was Affilite. I thought it was like some sort of weird proprietary thing. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's affiliate. Ah, I've been saying it wrong all this time. I don't deserve to be an affiliate now. Affiliate. 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 Yeah, I thought the same thing. Why did I think that? Anyway, let's focus back on the edit. That's what we're here for. And the occasional meme. Yet he saw me, and when our eyes locked, I looked back into the final day of a boy's life. How pathetic this creature was, Tomo, the kind of scraggly, scruffy mutt that would haunt the docks, begging for scraps for love. Back home. Oh no, I've been leading people astray. I'm sorry. Eyes wide with fear, with a deep-seated hatred. Even though his body was on the cusp of failure, he chose his last ounces of strength to turn to hatred. Hatred for me, for us, for everything around him. Of these lines of people up and down, working along the silver slime trails of replaceable railroad, beating out the remainder of their lives in construction. For the guards and soldiers who stood nearby, eyes trained on the slaves, watching them back. These people truly hate me. I spotted a medic walking nearby and signaled him over, pointed in the direction of the mud. Nature took its course. As the medic directed the boy to sit, I linked arms with my minor god of death and forced her away. I half expected her to put up more of a fight. And although she did resist, it was with the sort of timber that a child might afford if they were watching a cat dip down an alleyway, momentarily amused, fixated even, but soon persuaded. We left. We walked on and on and on down the trail of workers paving the silver veins, grey veins of a new glorious country. I want to put some dialogue in here. Now, I kind of want to finish it like this because in the next letter we revisit this scene. Actually, we revisit both of these elements within this one letter here. Part 1, Part 2. The demon, the dear girl, fawns at the edges of what I do now, but this time... But on this occasion I managed to keep her at bay. Now I want to go back and copy that down there just so that I have a note to myself a bit later. What's that outrider SG? Exposed a long running error there, now I wish I left it alone. Is it with your own writing? Did you find something that you... No, you have to go back and like fix in lots of other places? I've done that before. It's satisfying when you get it all done, but annoying when you first realize it. I'm going to show you another story. This is still quite raw for me and difficult to process, so, Tomo, I beg patience. Perhaps another day I will rewrite this into a version that is more acceptable and loyal to the truth. I can't think straight about it right now. Find myself excited at the idea of the final letter. It's just even talking straight into my letter. Haha, yeah. Oh, there's the Atolite. I'm still going to say it wrong. Yes, we'll get there tonight, Tomo. No, you're not Tomo. You're Sean. Um. Oh my god, my brain is in character mode. I don't know where that came from. Okay, strap yourself in. This isn't pleasant. I was in my quarters late that night. Warm was the colour of my candle, nice contrast to the mess of early winter that was taking place outside. Warmth. The dear girl held the metal basin and let the candle sway to and fro, maybe trying to make the wax snake sliver down the side. Good light flickered about her face and carved up new lines of rendition. I caught myself watching her, so beautiful in a ghastly sort of way, and then, without and forewarning, it should be any forewarning or sound, she turned and I turned to follow her gaze. That can be better. Ghostly quiet, the door to my quarters opened, pardon just a good fraction, and then more, with dour red light seeping like blood in between the crack. I'm gonna stop that there and deal with this. Yeah. So beautiful in a ghastly sort of way, feels like it needs more behind it, so I caught myself watching her. I don't want to declare that she's beautiful, I think that's strange. In a ghastly sort of way, I found myself entranced. Hey, Mickers Gaming! More letters! More letters. This is letter number 8. What we've been dealing with tonight is she's related an experience where he has seen... There's a whole host of Chinese slaves that are now building a railway somewhere in Manchuria, and Ishii and the demon that's with him find this one particular boy who's suffering from like some sort of combination of whooping cough and just a whole other bunch of general 1930s maladies, and he gets sicker and sicker. Ishii watches him sort of wither before his eyes, basically. Part 2 of this letter is an event that takes place off the back of letter number 7 here, where the sex slaves are pushed into the town. Okay, good point. I may have to take that out then. Warm was the color of the candle. Warm was the color. What was the color of my candle? Yeah, it's a bit Yoderish, isn't it? Warm. That may even be better. One color for my candle, a nice contrast to the mess. Saying, maybe it's a bit unnecessary. I'll put it in there and deal it with it in like another edit. Yoda is good. But maybe in the context of this thing here, it's a bit overblown. Dear girl held the metal basin and let the candle sway to and fro, maybe trying to make a wax snake sliver down the side. Good light flickered about her face and carved up new lines of rendition. Doesn't strictly make sense, but I like what that's going for, maybe. I caught myself watching her in a ghostly sort of way. She entranced me. Passive, but it's a letter, so I think it's okay. No, it's not okay. In a ghostly sort of way. Actins drew me in. Actins are a protein. Her actions drew me in. And then without any forewarning or sound, she turned. And I turned to follow her gaze. I wonder if this works. Her actions drew me and caught my attention in whole, in total, concentration in her eyes. Felt like haunting soft, and then, without any forewarning or sound, she turned, and her attention in whole and total found my door. I think the repetition may be okay there. It's fine. In terms of it trying to be poetically repetitive, maybe it works. Another edit, and I might come back and get rid of that. Who knows? One color poured out from my heart. Oh. But did it sing from your heart? That's what I want to know. Maybe add a simile after it. I think if it's got sang, I may not need a simile after it. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Clem. Licky. Licky. Ah, cool. And so by doing that, Clem, they'll be saved there forever? Is that right? Ghostly quiet, the door to my quarters opened. Party just a fraction. Just a good fraction. Why a good fraction? Why not a bad fraction? Just a fraction of it, a little more with dull red light seeping like blood in between the crack. Whoops. A young thing entered with a kind of staggered shuffle, pushed in, snapped locked in, as the door behind her closed. Pushed in, snapped locked in. Snapped locked in? Snapped locked in. But snapped locked. Snapped locked. Snapped locked in. It's not great, is it? Pushed in, locked in. Gonna get rid of snapped. Locked in is the door closed behind her. Or behind her closed. Door closed behind her. Forever! Yay! Ah, nice. Okay, cool. Well, I might just do that in the future. And then I can become an Aphrodite. And you guys can, we can do the whole Twitch thing. I can advertise Squarespace to you, and you can give me bits, and I'll never use them. Maybe. We'll see how we go. Oh, we can get lyre emotes. Oh, they're just gonna all be minions. Anyway, let's not get ahead of myself. I knew this girl. Instantly, the hair was a dead giveaway, chunks and pieces. Scared, doe-eyed, she looked up into her new surrounds and found me. Candlelight soured her face, but Tomo, my goodness, I have few words to describe the look of horror that came over her as she turned past me, stared, mouth peeping open, a silent scream catching in her throat, as the girl's eyes fell upon the dear god. Yes, for certain. I had to be sure of it. I traced her line of sight, and matched it directly with the spirit, then back again, as the two exchanged glances. He gave way to panic, and the child reached behind her for the doorknob, fiddled, wrenched at the focus of it, but it would not give, barred from the outside, I imagine. Or perhaps from some supernatural glue, some physical freeze on the scene, as if the dear god herself had painted this room onto the black walls of an empty patch of earth, and we, the human actors, were nothing more than worms in the soil, trapped. Dear girl rose to her feet, but did not move, just stood. And with a voice of wind and song, she said sweet to the young thing, "Come close, girl." The child shook her head as huge, beautiful tears cut her face. Again, the deaf god urged, "Shh, it's okay. Come stand before us, let us see you." Hey DC, not important. Welcome to the stream. We are going through one of my letters. That's part of the story I'm writing right now. What we usually do on Lyrebird edits is people send their stories to me, and I go through it line by line, paragraph by paragraph, and I chop it apart and make suggestions. And I guess tonight's sort of letter number 8 out of 7 that I've done previously on the stream. So a bit of a sort of sideways place to come in, but that's okay. Because the other letters are always on YouTube, and if anyone wants to go and watch them from start to finish, yes, please do. But as Clem was saying before, I may even not need to use YouTube now that I can do on Twitch what I was using YouTube for. Yeah. Anyway, hi, welcome to the stream. Yeah, really. Really. When I first started Twitch editing, I'd had people come on the stream and ask me if I was editing COD videos, and I was really confused for a while, but I then figured out that there used to be like a, I don't know if it's still very active, but there's like a community of video editors on Twitch who, I think T8fall actually does some video editing, but there are people who go and like edit, like I think, not quite 360 no scope stuff, but 360 no scope stuff, yeah. Oh, did I? Oh. Yeah, and it's funny because I don't see much of it now. Did it die out or something? Maybe it comes in sort of trends. I have a feeling that Fortnite is now more popular than COD when it comes to that sort of stuff, so... Anyway, sorry, Outrider SG, what was I... What was something suggesting about desire? Yes, because you had a... Okay, back here, letter number 7. When it was just Sean and me at the start of the stream, Sean suggested something really good here that I've actually ended up putting in. This paragraph is in the context of a line of sex slaves who have been captured by the Japanese and they're being lined up and sort of dehumanized, I guess. But Sean suggested here, where one of the superiors finds this child from the line and brings her out the front and then proceeds to sort of cut chunks out of her hair. This is the same girl that's present here in this scene. Sean had a really good suggestion of the worst of the desire. And I think it actually really works nicely now because of this scene here. From earlier. Yeah, it's probably quite a story. More than welcome to pop into Discord, by the way. If you follow the link underneath my video, there's my Discord channel. Come in and say hello. I mean, you can type as many words as you like. Hmm. Do you think it's had its day? Do you think, like, the Call of Duty Battlefield head-to-head stuff is kind of coming to a close? Because with the advent of things like Fortnite now, which work in seasonal chunks, or even Overwatch still with its competitive seasons and its new characters being unveiled, it just sort of seems like the yearly Call of Duty Cyber Warfare 2035 Advanced Alpha Edition, blah blah blah, like, that they can't keep that pace up and that people are moving more towards into a different kind of game style. I don't know. Hmm. Oh, there you go. You're game dev. Nice. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, feel free if you want to pop into Discord and give us the rundown. It'd actually be good to get someone's perspective from, like, from within the industry itself. Hmm. Nice one. Hey, and thanks for joining Discord. Nice. But I might focus back on the story now, if you don't mind. But you can feel free to type in Discord. I'll sort of pop back and forth every now and then. Um, I like this paragraph here. I didn't suggest any changes. Surely I can think of something. Um, the 2,000 word limit, gosh. You can put it in a Google Doc and link us to a Google Doc. Might be interesting. I need to skill instantly, the hair was a dead giveaway. Gonna get rid of instantly. Hey, there we go. Made an improvement. The hair was a dead giveaway, chunks and pieces. Scared, doe-eyed, she looked up into her new surrounds and found me. Candlelight soured her face, but Tom, oh my goodness, I have few words to describe a look of horror that came over her as she turned past me, stared, mouth peeping open, a silent scream catching in her throat as the girl's eyes fell upon the dear god. Yes, for certain, I had to be sure of it. I traced her line of sight and matched it directly with the spirit, and back again, as the two exchanged glances. Fear gave way to panic, and the child reached behind her for the doorknob, fiddled, wrenched at the focus of it. But it would not give. Barred from the outside, I imagine. Or perhaps from some supernatural glue, some physical reason. Good, I think that sort of flows together really nicely. Like, maybe in future edits I'll take chunks and pieces out of it, but I'm happy with it for now. Dear God rose to her feet, but did not move, just stood. And with a voice she calls her over, come, let us see you. And I felt magic in those words. I felt a universal bend and rhythm to them. To disobey was simply not an option. It was all the little girl could do to find herself falling into our sphere. Gentle, ginger steps, pad, pad, pad. She came in. The light from our candle threw her body across the walls in playful shadow, but revealed the sad state of her. Single black eye battered to a dark cloud, a cut lip, dirty nose, soiled rags, scuffed knees, eyes that found no peace. How terrible. Setting the candle down on the little trunk side, ooh, what am I doing there? Setting the candle down on a little bit arcade table, implying that they play cards sometimes. Don't know why. Dear God, now I need to make sure that I'm being consistent in dear and God. Yeah, I'm gonna capitalize it. Oh, I don't capitalize God sometimes. Yeah, no, I'll decapitalize. Scuffed. It's a cool word, isn't it? Oh, sorry, 2000 later. Sorry, I thought you had a I thought you like had like a mini essay prepared. Yeah, scuffed is one of those words for me that has a single association, and that's scuff knees. I don't ever think of anything else. Oh, and elbows too. It's the kind of word that's reserved for a specific context. For me, at least. I don't know why. It's an association. Gonna get rid of that dear god too. It's good to be consistent. Dear god gets to her feet, smoothing out the folds of her dress, and glides to the child. Girl balls her fists against the front, raises her shoulders, looks down, as the dear thing presses up against the girl. I'm gonna replace that with child. Nestles into her shoulder, beautiful hands on shoulders, head to head. Maybe this is the sort of gesture an older sister would do to comfort a hurt sibling. Oh, is it really? What does it mean, Clem? Teach me the ways. My usage scuff is scuffed. Potentially, yeah. Ah, interesting. Hmm. Hmm. Thank you, Lee Everett, for scuffing up my stream. Welcome back, Saika. Hello. You and Lee. Together in one unified package. No, I'm not. It's weird, isn't it? Like that sort of association. And I watch then as the dear god leans against the young thing's cheek. Out came a tongue, thick like a bull's, purple and earthen, and slavered against her flesh, ringing? Should be writhing. The girl tried to squirm away, but the spirit clenched tight into her shoulders, and wouldn't let her move as it tasted her, one horrible, long, deep lick. The tongue lolled away, back into that scar like a snake to cave. The child began to whimper as my spirit companion cooed, "I never tasted death on a young thing before." I don't understand what she meant. Vidya cocked her head and quipped to me, "What do you want me to do with her? Or what do you want to do with her? What do you want to do with her?" The girl hiccuped, staggered her breath out into a long, deep kind of whimpery cry. "Here is what I did." This may be a bit confusing in terms of the doe referring to the girl, but also the dear girl. I wanted that to be confusing. Maybe. That's just an idea I had. Here's what I did. I put back the sheets of the dear god's bed and motioned for the girl to sleep. I ordered the dear god to leave her alone. I blew out the candle and slept with the spirit pressed tight against me. I locked her in with 2 arms, trapping her against my chest. I held that beast desire back. Dear girl wriggled and squirmed and wanted to break free and be with the child, but I withdrew her power. I'm gonna get rid of be with. I withdrew her power. Together after a fashion we settled and waited for the sounds of sleep to come to my ears. Knowing both she and she were out, I drifted off. I swear, Tom, I did not touch her, I swear it. Ask her yourself, the demon girl who hands you this letter. And this is the first point of a story where the demon girl speaks to Tomo. He doesn't know I read every word before I hand them over to you. Oh, Tomo, we're going to have fun, you and I. Step outside, you will find me by the letterbox. I will tell you the truth, that Ishi will not. What I want to do is This is a repetition of the line that ends part 1, and I think that'll be good to work together. Sorry guys, let me go back and read your chat. As she... Thank you. Good spotting. Didn't spot that. Nice. Thank you, Sayaka. Whimpery no, whimper by itself, maybe. Whimpered cry? Whimper. That might work, mightn't it? Good suggestion. Good suggestion, Sean. Like a snake to a cave. Not sure I get this metaphor. And snakes don't live in caves. Maybe eel. If I want to recycle... I didn't type eel. What am I saying? Snake. Like an eel to a cave. Which is a bit of a throwback to Memoirs of a Geisha. Slithering is right. Well, Psycho, you weren't paying attention because World War II is basically just demons. It's all demons. Yeah, interesting point, Outrider. Bears with caves. You can have a sea cave, I guess. Yeah, you can have a sea cave. Get your mind out of the gutter, Ernst. And I wonder if this is the best way to do it. Spooders live in caves. They sure do. Good old spooders. Let me think on this just for a second while I pull something up. So in the next letter, we get a continuation and a like a whole reason. Words. This letter here has a lot of untruth to it in terms of its depiction of events. The next letter is an opportunity for the dear God to speak directly with who Tomo is writing the letter to. At the very end of the letter, she's like, "Okay, Ishi told you this and this about these parts here, and that's all wrong. Here's what happened instead." So you get like a sort of dual perspective, and you have to make up your mind who's telling the truth. And it's pretty obvious. So like it's not like one of those, oh, it's 50-50. Like it's a you know instantly who's telling the truth and who isn't. But I'm just trying to think of if this is the best way to introduce this element, because in the next letter we get a full-blown purposeful demonstration of how this all comes together. This sort of side A, side B of events. Deagle Lady would never lie to us. She wouldn't. She has no reason to. I don't think she lies. I don't think that's in her nature. Where they belong. So that writer says, I want to be loud into her scratchings before realizing it's her writing them. Yeah, interesting. Brevity is the soul of wit. Soul is the brevity of soul. True words. True words. um, sorry, I'm just peeping into Discord here. Um, uh, this section here I'm gonna have to think about. My suspicion was that her writings would start as if they could be issues, but in the final sentence, bam, the reveal. Oh, wow. It's a really good suggestion. Sort of feel like that could be like a deep stage story thing, where we get to a stage where Ishihara and this deer god could kind of merge their way of seeing things so much so that you can't actually tell who's writing anymore. And then you get a clue at the end, but it's bam, it's actually been the deer god the whole time. I have a feeling that I want to I think I kind of want to save that as like the ace in my sleeve, so to speak, rather than starting off with that. Two reasons. One reason for that purpose of having them start off from side A, side B, and then having their experiences slowly converge together. And the second reason is that I think in this manner we get a better sense of how the narrative functions from a letter counter letter point of view before we get to that. It just makes the events a bit clearer, maybe. Right, and I think that will work really nicely for the oil metaphor. Um, so maybe I could do it in reverse for the other one. So I think that's something that I'm going to have to think on. This is probably placeholder in that regards. I'm going to have to think about whether or not this is the most suitable way to introduce the A-B letter split. In subsequent edits, I might find a more useful way to make this stick. The issue that I have with it right now is just like poking holes in my robot. No, it's all good. This is actually really useful to get sorted before I launch too deeply into the narrative too. The biggest problem I think I have with it is that it's not really tied in with anything. We've got part A, part B to this letter, and then this is just like, oh yeah, Blair, by the way, I'm reading all these letters. Hey, great. But I sort of feel like this needs its own little reason for existing. So I need to think of a better way to tie this in to the narrative. And that way, its reason to be is, I guess, more solid. Reason to be is more justified. Week is full of sleep. Just having a think about what I could do. Hmm. You know, I actually might call it. I might call it there tonight. I think that if I push on into the next few letters, I maybe um uh, I think I want to sort of collect my thoughts from letters 1 to 8 before I push into letter number 9. Sometimes it's really good to actually all times it's really good to do that. I don't think you can write a whole story without editing it in chunks all the way through. So, because of things like what Outrider was talking about, it's thinking about how like poking holes on the roadmap is actually really useful because it means that if you see a problem or you see a way to do something better, it's good to stop and actually edit through everything in your own pace, what you've done so far, reconcile it all together, and then come back and push out from the next little bit. This bit, ideally, you haven't written yet. So you write a chunk, you go back and edit, and then you push out into a new one. Doing that will allow you to, I guess, give you a bit more scope on where the story is going. Mm. What song was this, Sayaka? Look at what you did, Sai. You've made me finish up the stream early. Um, but I think I want to reconcile this a little bit first. Yeah, why don't we call it a night? Why don't we call it a night? If you've got something that you want me to edit, even Sean, please let me know. I might take a bit of a gap between this letter and the next one. So yeah, but I can give them to you via DM if you like, and you can peruse them in your own time. But yeah, if you've got something that you'd like me to edit, can you edit my life? Oof, oof. Your life is well polished. I can't improve. I can edit my code. I don't think you want me editing your code. I can put comments everywhere being like, I don't understand that. I don't understand this. And I don't think you want a Python programmer coming coming in with my dynamically typed language and being like, oh, what are you doing here? What's this? Yeah. Ooh, assembly. Chapter 3. Ooh, okay, nice. By the 13th? Yeah, it's a week. I can do that. 80k? Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, really easy. Can I edit Australian politics? Oh my god, I wish. Uh, right in the feels. Yep. But also, yes, I would love to. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'll search around for the TY, mate. No worries, Clem. All good. Um, with some willpower, I guess I could try and edit mayonnaise. Hmm. Not sure what to. Like, how would you edit mayonnaise? What would you take stuff out? Would you replace stuff? Oh, yes. Some mayonnaise tastes awful. It's the fat-free mayonnaise where they take out all the fat and they're like, oh, this mayonnaise tastes awful because there's no fat. So why don't we just dump a whole lot of sugar in there? Sweet mayonnaise is the worst thing to happen to mankind. Okay, throwing that out there. Sweet mayonnaise is terrible. I get a free Ningen cup. It'd be a glorious utopic state with everyone getting a Minion cup. Right, exactly. Sweet Mo. That's it's like it's like heresy. It's like when the Catholic Church broke into Protestantism, there was sweet mayonnaise and there's regular mayonnaise, and they've been fighting ever since. All right, guys, I'm gonna call that a night, I think. Thank you for your great suggestions. And the stuff that I failed to pick up on. But I think I want to sit on this one for a while now, let it stew, and I guess get a better sense of where it's going. Can I have his god montage? No, no. All good, Psycho. Real facts, by the way. The Protestant Church Reformation thing was all about mayonnaise. Every day, man. I'd struggle to do every day. I think I'm good in small doses. You might get sick of me if you saw too much of me. Alrighty. What had Lifford to do with it? With the mayonnaise debate? 99 reasons why sweet mayonnaise is actually awful. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. Like, yeah. Oh, thank you. Kind of videos on liar. Yeah, but I don't know how far we can extend the metaphor out. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me. We'll catch you later. I'll be back on Sunday unless something weird pops up. I'll let you know on Discord either way. Catch you then. Bye.